Hello, and welcome back to the Language of Leadership, the podcast where we break down essential leadership skills, tools, and principles to help you grow as a leader and empower your teams. I'm your host, Chuck Marting, and today our topic is one that's both common and incredibly destructive, and that's gossip and rumors in the workplace. You see, gossip may seem harmless at first, small conversations between colleagues, a bit of speculation about what's going on behind closed doors, or even personal chatter about others' private lives. But if it's left unchecked, it can quickly turn into a wildfire, spreading distrust, lowering morale, and ultimately tearing teams apart. So, in today's episode, we're going to explore the damaging effects of gossip and rumors in the workplace. But more importantly, we're going to discuss practical ways you can prevent gossip from taking root in your team and addressing it when it does. I'm going to share real life stories of how leaders have tackled this issue head on and then offer encouragement to help you foster a healthy, transparent work environment. So, whether you're a leader who's currently dealing with workplace gossip or someone trying to prevent it from becoming a problem in the future, this episode is for you. So, first, we got to understand the impact of gossip on teams. You see, gossip is often dismissed as harmless, just part of the workplace culture, right? Well, I'm going to tell you wrong. The truth is, gossip and rumors can have devastating consequences for your team's dynamics, their performance, and even their morale. First, let's define what we're talking about. You see, gossip usually involves conversations between and behind someone's back. It's often spreading speculation, half truths, or just outright lies. Now, rumors are similar, but they usually involve the spread of unverified information, often about company policies, leadership decisions, or other work related issues. So, gossip and rumors create a toxic environment where trust is eroded. When team members start questioning each other's motives or intentions based on gossip, collaboration suffers. The team becomes divided with cliques forming, and before you know it, team productivity drops and the sense of camaraderie is destroyed. I remember a story from a company I consulted with years ago. Let's call it Company X. At the time, they were experiencing a sudden spike in turnover. People were leaving right and left in this company, and the leadership team couldn't figure out why. After some digging, it became clear that gossip was the culprit. Rumors had started circulating about layoffs, even though there was no truth to them. Employees began speculating about who would be next, creating a culture of fear. Trust between management and employees hit rock bottom, and the company lost several high performing team members as a result. The most frustrating part, leadership could have nipped this in the bud early on, but they underestimated the impact of gossip and allowed it to fester. The story serves as a cautionary tale. Gossip isn't something you can afford to ignore. As leaders, we must understand that gossip isn't just idle chatter. It's a serious threat to the team unity, trust, and also the performance of the team. It leads to lower productivity, increased stress, and in extreme cases, even employee turnover. The sooner we recognize the problem, the sooner we can act to prevent it and address it. So, addressing gossip at a fast growing startup is a story that I want to share with you. So let's dive into a real life example that demonstrates how a proactive leader can turn things around when gossip starts to spiral out of control. A fast growing tech startup, I'm going to call it TechCo. They had experienced an explosion of growth over a short period of time. They had hired dozens of new employees within a span of 6 months. And while the growth was exciting for this company, it also came with its challenges. With so many new people coming on board and no formal processes in place for communication, the rumor mill started churning. One particularly damaging rumor began circulating that the CEO was planning to sell the company, which wasn't true at all. But because the CEO hadn't been communicating regularly with the team or even with the employees, it started speculation and the rumor mill gained traction. Soon you had employees who were distracted. They were worried about losing their job, their security in their job, and even the productivity within this company plummeted. Now, the CEO, let's call him Jason, okay, he knew he had to act quickly. But instead of trying to sweep the issue under the rug or punishing employees for spreading rumors, he took a very different approach. And that was he started going into transparency. He started explaining that there were no plans to sell the company and that he wanted to clear up any confusion that had been started. More importantly, though, Jason took this opportunity to explain the importance of open communication within a team. He admitted that his lack of communication had contributed to the problem, but he promised to be more transparent moving forward. He implemented a bi-weekly check-in with his employees, and this is where they could ask questions directly, and it was ensuring that they were always in the forum of concerns, that they were able to address those concerns, and that they would be addressed by leadership. So what was the result? Over time, trust was restored. The gossip died down, and employees felt more secure in their roles. You see, Jason's proactive response not only stopped the rumor mill, but also improved overall communication within the company. Now, Jason's story, it highlights a few important lessons. First, leaders need to be proactive when it comes to addressing gossip and rumors. You see, ignoring the issue will only make it worse. Second, transparency is key. By opening up the lines of communication, addressing the rumors directly, Jason was able to put the situation to rest and rebuild trust within his teams. You see, the root cause of gossip and how to prevent it is very important. You have to be able to prevent gossip from taking root. You need to understand why it happens in the first place. So, gossip often rises in environments where there's lack of transparency, uncertainty, or even disconnection between leadership and employees. So when people don't feel that they have enough information, they fill in the gaps themselves. And often those gaps are filled with speculation. So here are some common causes of gossip. One, lack of communication. When leadership isn't clear or consistent in their communications, rumors can start to fill that void. Employees speculate about decisions, policies, and even the behavior of their colleagues. You see, as we saw in our example with TechCo, the CEO's lack of regular communication, it was the key factor in fueling those rumors about selling the company. Number two, low morale. When employees are unhappy, when they're disengaged or feeling undervalued, they're more likely to engage in gossip. You see, gossip can become a form of social bonding, but unfortunately, it often revolves around negative topics. And this only worsens the team's morale over time. Number three, unclear roles or responsibilities. You see, when people aren't sure of their roles or how decisions are made within organizations, confusion and frustration can lead to speculation. Employees start making assumptions about what others are doing, and this leads to the spread of inaccurate information. Number four, fear and insecurity. When employees feel uncertain about their job security, they're more likely to engage in gossip as a way to gather inside information. And in time of change, such as mergers, acquisitions, or layoffs, gossip can spread like wildfire as employees try to make sense of what's happening around them. Now, how do you prevent it? So, these are the things that I would suggest would help you in preventing that gossip to be spread or even started. First, you have to foster a culture of open communication. As a leader, you must intentionally be creating an environment where open communication is encouraged. Regularly updating your team on key decisions or even upcoming changes in company goals is paramount. And when employees feel informed, they're less likely to speculate or even spread rumors. Number two, you have to lead by example. Leaders set the tone for the workplace culture. If you encourage gossip or you tolerate it, your team will follow suit. You have to model the behavior you want to see by maintaining professionalism and steering conversations away from gossip. If someone comes to you with gossip, politely redirect the conversation and encourage them to address the issue directly with the person that's involved. Number three, you have to promote trust and transparency. You see, transparency builds trust, and trust is the antidote to gossip. When employees trust their leaders, they're less likely to engage in negative speculation. You have to be honest with your team, even when that news isn't positive. It's better for them to hear it from you than through the grapevine. And number four, you have to address issues directly. When conflict arises, addressing it head on is encouraged. You're going to be encouraging your team to communicate directly with each other when they have concerns rather than talking behind someone's back. Now, you can foster this by having regular one on one meetings with your team members to ensure that they feel heard and that they're supported. You know, I need to share another real life story with you. And I'd like to share this. It's a very powerful story about one leader's ability in tackling gossip in a highly competitive environment. You see, this time we're talking about a law firm, and let's call it prestige law firm, okay? And as with many law firms, competition for promotions and client assessments and assignments was very fierce. With so much at stake, gossip began circulating about who was favored by the partners or who was being chopped on the chopping block or who was likely to make partner next time. And this gossip had reached a boiling point when it started to affect client relationships. Attorneys were becoming more focused on internal politics than on serving their clients. And realizing the potential long term damage, the managing partner, let's call her Rachel, okay, she decided to take a drastic action. You see, Rachel knew that if she simply told people to stop gossiping, it wasn't going to work. So instead, she made transparency a top priority. She instituted weekly team meetings where the leadership would discuss the firm's goals, upcoming promotions, and the reason behind the decisions regarding assignments. Most importantly, Rachel made sure to explain the criteria for promotions. And she did this clearly so that everyone would understand the process and that they would feel it was fair. In addition to the meetings, Rachel also introduced a no gossip policy. She encouraged employees to confront any issues directly or bring them to HR if they were needed. She also started recognizing individuals who demonstrated positive communication behaviors. This reinforced the kind of environment she wanted to cultivate. Now, while it took some time to shift this culture, Rachel's persistency paid off. Over the course of a year, the gossip died down significantly, and the firm became more focused on their clients and their teamwork. Employee satisfaction increased and the firm's reputation improved both internally and externally. So, Rachel's approach, it's a masterclass in leadership. She didn't just address the gossip directly, she made it her mission to change the culture. And she did this by promoting transparency, fairness, and open communication. You see, gossip thrives in environments where people feel left out or uninformed. And Rachel took that away from them by keeping everyone in the loop. And she created a more transparent workplace in the process. So, even with the best intentions, though, gossip can still find its way into your workplace. So, when it does, it's important that it's addressed and it's addressed swiftly and effectively. So, here are some practical strategies for dealing with gossip once it's already started. First, address the issue publicly, but you do it tactfully. So, if a rumor is spreading and it's affecting your team, don't ignore it. You have to address it in a team meeting or through a company wide memo. But you have to be clear about the facts and you have to reassure your team that the situation is under control. By confronting the rumor head on, you stop it from gaining more traction. Number two, you have to have private conversations. If you notice that certain individuals are consistently engaging in gossip, man, it is time to have a private conversation. But you need to approach them with empathy, but make it clear that the gossip is not acceptable. Focus on the behavior, not the person, and explain how it's affecting the team. Three, you have to encourage direct communication. Often gossip stems from unresolved conflicts. So you have to encourage your team to talk to each other directly when they have issues. And you have to do this rather than allowing them to vent to others. You have to teach conflict resolution skills, and you have to promote a culture where direct communication is valued over passive aggressive gossiping. Now, number four, you have to create a feedback loop. So, what do I mean? Well, sometimes gossip arises because employees just don't feel they have a voice. If you implement a system where employees can provide anonymous feedback or even ask questions about what's happening within the company, this can help stop those rumors before they start. As employees, they're going to have a direct line to leadership where they feel that they can voice their concerns. So, number five, reward positive communication. Just like Rachel did in our example of the law firm, make it a point to reward employees who demonstrate positive communication behaviors. Publicly acknowledging those whose approach issues head on in engagement and constructive conversation and it avoids gossip, you're going to be able to celebrate the right behaviors and you're going to set the tone for the entire team when you do this. So, as we wrap up today's episode, I want to leave you with this thought. Gossip and rumors may seem like small, inevitable aspects of workplace life, but they are actually deeply corrosive forces that can erode trust, teamwork, and productivity. If you want to build a high performing team, you cannot allow gossip to take root. By fostering a culture of open communication, transparency, and trust, you not only prevent gossip, but you also create an environment where your team can thrive. It's not easy. Transforming a gossip filled culture, it takes time, persistence, and leadership. But the payoff is worth it. When people feel informed, valued, and connected, they focus on their work. they build stronger relationships, and they contribute to positivity within an organization. So, I want to thank you for joining me on the language of leadership. And I hope that today's discussion has given you some valuable insights on preventing and also addressing gossip in the workplace. If you found this episode helpful, don't forget to subscribe, leave a review, and share it with your colleagues. And remember, leadership is a language that we all speak. So let's make sure we're saying the right things. So that's all for today in this episode of The Language of Leadership. Be sure to join us next week as we continue to explore the skills and the strategies that make great leaders. Until then, keep communicating openly and fostering a trust in your teams. Thanks for listening. Until next week, take care.